What's that?
I want to ask. I'll probably say this a couple times as more people jump on. But if it's okay with everyone, could you all put your email addresses in the chat, so we can try to get try to build a database so we can contact everyone who attends the meetings. So if you can, go to the chat and just enter your emails, please. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Deb.
Yay!
Finally got back with you.
Finally.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So what we're asking is for everybody to put their email address into the chat, just to make sure we got a more current and up to date email. I just so happened to hit invite on my thing, and I saw you on there. I said, well, shoot, I'm gonna send this to Deb and see if I can get her back on. So, but yeah, so that way when Quinn sends stuff out, he'll have everybody on there. So if you would go ahead and put your information in, and we'll go from there. So, all right. So with that being said, for those who don't know me, this is John Jameson with the Legacy Farming and Health Group. Just a little brief insight on us. You know, we've been working together with farmers from Chicago, from Chicago, but from California all the way over to Virginia, down to Florida, Texas, Michigan, Indiana. We're all over the place. Atlanta. And so so the thing is that we've been on here working together, trying to help our people out, especially in farming. We've got a great opportunity right now that we got going on. We were able to get a 2501 grant that it specifically helps us to be able to introduce, to get our people initiated and to increase participation in the USDA grants, scholarships, loans, and programs. And so they got a program that they're rolling out right now that we think will be highly beneficial for our people. And we're looking at trying to get that in all the different areas that we have. So without any more further ado, let me see, where's Tamika at? Tamika, you about ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, okay. As long as I can get in, you know, I stay ready.
Yeah. You went off screen, so I was like, oh, where's she?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't know everybody was just
there. Okay.
Catching my mug for no reason, you know?
So yeah, we got some exciting information. As we know, this COVID virus has had a major effect on people. One of the biggest effects that it's having right now is on the farmers, because those who normally have produce and stuff to send to the grocery stores, to send to the restaurants and things of that nature, schools and everything else, those contracts they are not doing because those things aren't working right now, or the request is being reduced, and so a lot of them are just losing stuff in the field. As some of us know, some of us do farmers markets and things of that nature. That is going to be gravely impacted this year with the social distancing. So we're, you know, it's possibilities that we're not going to be able to do that. But the thing is that people still need to eat. And so that's what the government is looking at. They had a special meeting this past week on a Zoom webinar thing that they had, that they rolled out, that they're looking for to be able to work in each region. They have 7 regions that they're working on. And with those 7 regions that they're working in, they're looking at trying to work with all farmers. They want nothing but stuff that's produced by farmers in the USA in this. So this is a great opportunity for us to be able to come on, to be able to help, and to be able to work together. So it doesn't really matter right now how big or small your operation is. This is an opportunity to get on. We can all pitch in and be able to help out. So with all that fun stuff being said, let me pass it on to Tamika Peoples with Peoples Foundation. She's been a part of Legacy Farming and Health Group basically since we started 3 years ago. And so she is a great asset to us. She has a 501c. She deals with the
I'm
veterans
hearing it through the phone and it's a little distorted.
from
Mute the phone.
all right, hold
I have
on.
a little bit of feedback there.
Yeah. You getting feedback?
I just think there were some questions about some distortion and being able to hear us. So one, can everybody hear us? I know,
Give us
I
a
want to make
thumbs
sure.
up if you can hear us. All right.
Good, good, good.
All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it on to Tamika, and Tamika has a presentation and everything that she has done for us. So go ahead, Tamika.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for having me, John. I'm happy to be here, and thank you all for joining. As John said, the USDA is rolling out an initiative to be able to support the need for food across the country, as well as try to enrich and support the farmers who are producing this food, and right now they can't get it to these places. I'm going to bring up a screen share to talk to you all a little bit about the program, and then we'll share information about our approach and how we're going to approach supporting this program. And when I say our approach, just and John, I'm not sure if you talked about this, but Legacy Farming and Health Group is working under what we call the LIFE Project, Legacy Innovation Farming and Economics. That's a group and a collection of many organizations and grassroots farm outreach programs across the nation. We do that in partnership with the Farmers and Legacy Farming and Health Group, People's Foundation, and University of Purdue National Agribility Program. So we inherently have a partnership doing these workshops and outreach. And so when this announcement came out about the need for the food, the need for people to step up and step in to be able to act as, in essence, micro distributors of this food to the points of need throughout the nation, we figure this is a great opportunity for us to use our current collaborative efforts and bring in more farmers and program leaders to help us with this potential opportunity. So I'm going to start to share my screen. I'll walk everybody through the program. I'm sometimes a fast talker, so I will pause after the completion of each slide, and if there's any questions or comments, please bring those up then, and we can certainly move on to the next slide. So one moment here. I had to first bring up my PowerPoint.
Are you able to get it up?
Yes, sir. I'm just.
Okay.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so this is just a quick snapshot of us, but I'm going to roll right into the opportunity because we've already talked about that. All right, so the USDA yesterday announced that they are going to be coming out with a contract opportunity to do just what I described, micro distribution of food across the nation in 7 different regions. The organization, and as we know, there's many departments within USDA, but the organization within USDA that's going to be releasing this contract and supporting this effort is the Agricultural Marketing Service. I'm not sure if anyone has heard much about them, but in my overview of what this arm of the USDA does is they essentially buy commodity products from farmers and they sell and distribute it to food banks and household communities throughout the nation. They've been doing this for well over 100 years. And so they're just thinking about how can they bridge this gap. This USDA COVID-19 food box program will be the bridge to that gap. It will not, I repeat, it will not be a grant. It will be a contract that they release through what we call SAM.gov. So in other words, your company or a company has to be registered in SAM.gov in order to respond to their request for quote. They're encouraging people to develop commodity boxes and then deliver them to identified nonprofits of their choice. Most of these nonprofits are probably already operating in the community, either delivering or handing out food in some capacity. And so there might be already an opportunity to just collect those boxes and distribute it right to that nonprofit. Obviously, one of the things that they want to try to highlight is something that's ready-made within these boxes. So they're looking at 4 different types of boxes, and I'll talk about those here in a minute. They will pay in this contract. They will have what they call contract line item numbers, or CLINs, that the entity, after delivering of these goods, would then invoice the USDA for these commodities that they've delivered to these distribution points. So it is essentially just like a traditional business contract, right? You do the work, you invoice the USDA, and USDA pays that entity, and of course, then you can pay all the service providers who have been able to help you to distribute these items. So I'm going to pause there to just give people a chance to look what we have on the screen and kind of digest what I've said. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them now on this slide, and I'll roll into the next kind of the real details of this program. All right, no questions. Great, thank you. Okay, so they've kind of outlined how much they're looking to spend. You know, one of the things they try to do is say how much money that do they have and how much can they spend. So USDA is looking to spend $300 million on this program. As you can see, as highlighted here on this slide, they're looking to spend $100 million a month on fresh produce, $100 million a month on dairy products, and $100 million a month on meat products that are distributed to these points of need throughout the nation. So what that means is the organizations are going to need to have pre-identified kind of costs for each box. They are looking for fresh produce, meat, beef, chicken, dairy, and a combo box if that's something that you want to develop in order to give out. The distribution points would typically be, as mentioned, a food bank, communities or faith-based organizations who are handing out food en masse to those in need. And some of the things that I took away from actually being on the call, I'm going to talk through. As I said, this is a kind of immediate response program. It will be a contract. They're looking for products that are 100% grown in the US. They can be variety boxes that we decide to hand out, but essentially they're handoff points that you're going to be taking these boxes to. There are 4 types of boxes that they're encouraging, as mentioned: fresh produce, chicken, pork, dairy, and if you have a combo box, that's fine as well. They anticipate that this contract will go through the end of the year. It will start in July, and as you can see, I have kind of those quarter increments of which they're targeting: July through August, September through October, and then through the end of the year in November. This solicitation will go out tomorrow, right? So it's incumbent upon organizations to kind of be positioned to take a look at this solicitation and then be able to respond, which is why the LIFE team and project really thought we were in best position to kind of bring together the masses and respond to this offering. The deadline for the response is May 1. So come out Friday, you have about a week or so where they'll you have opportunity to submit this proposal, and they will award contracts, multiple contracts, beginning May 8th. Any questions here, thoughts, comments? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So according to them, we have to get this information in. We've got a week to do it. Like, what requirements are they looking for us to submit to them? Is it going to be something that's like totally like something that we haven't even done before? How do we make that?
Sure, and I will definitely have John kind of chime in here. They're looking for us to identify what type of boxes are we desiring to deliver, and what location you want to do that in. As I mentioned in the RFQ, they're going to have a lot more detail. This is only what we were able to gather based on the emergency kind of Zoom meeting USDA had with respect to that. So they're going to, 1, make you identify what area you're doing it in. 2, they're going to ask that you identify, well, where are you taking these boxes to? Like, who is
A food bank?
Yeah, right. So what nonprofit, what food bank have you been able to identify that is going to be receiving your commodity, right?
Mhm.
And then the next thing is, what's the price of your box, right? And
Mhm.
so we can definitely get into that, but they will be paying you for the assembly and the delivery and the distribution of that said box. Now you might be someone, right, or organization who says, hey, I'm only going to be concentrating on the fresh fruit. I'm not really interested in delivering produce. So you don't have to write to everything, but you do have to tell them who you're getting it from, who's it going to, and what is the box, right? Is it a combo box? Is it a just nothing but produce box? And what is the cost of that box, and and its assembly? Um, so that's kind of the baseline of what they're asking you to tell, and of course, it's a contract, right? When the government releases contracts, they have to kind of evaluate whether or not you're going to be able to do what it is that you say you're able to do, right? So there's
Mhm.
some level of evaluation. I have not, again, the contract has not been released, so I don't know what the full evaluation will be, but in my experience in government contracts, they always kind of want to know, one, have you done this before? Two, can you show the propensity of your ability to do it, right? Like, okay, in detail, tell us how you're going to do it, right? The proposal is X. So and that's kind of why I've been working internally to the Life Project and the team, given what I believe all of our experiences are. We have a fairly good opportunity to be able to write to and show the propensity of the capability of the organization to be able to do this. But typically in a government contract, that's what they're looking for. What are you going to do for us? Here are your options to do it. Tell us where the products are going. What region are you going to focus in? What are the cost of each one of your boxes? And now let John elaborate on how best to evaluate cost.
Yeah.
um, so this is the benefit that we have from doing this. As we know, a lot of our communities are what is called food deserts, which means that even before the coronavirus, we didn't have the ability to have fresh produce and stuff in our community. And so with that being said, we now get to identify places that we can have these food boxes at. So if we got churches or nonprofit organizations or wherever it is that we want to have in our communities, we can have that set up. It also gives us, as growers and everything else, an opportunity to get our produce in, so that when we grow, we can have a place to that will automatically take it and sell our produce and stuff. And so that's the benefit for that. When it comes to the price scale, we're going to go with a national ideal as to what the prices are, because prices vary from place to place. What might sell for $3 or $4 in Indiana, you go to certain places, Chicago, things of that nature, it might sell for $6 or $7. And so we're trying to get a consensus on the ideal of for each region what the prices are going to be, what our costs and stuff are going to be per item. So different items would be different things. If we're selling it by the piece, it'd be a price for it by the piece. And if we're selling it by the pound, it'll be a price by the pound. We're going to be getting with local food banks and stuff to find out how they quantify what we will call a unit. And a unit will be, for example, they might say that where they package their stuff is for a family of 4 to be able to eat for a week. To have fresh produce for a week for a family of 4. So for a family of 4, we will determine how many tomatoes, how many onions, how many pounds, how many pieces of fresh vegetables that we would need to be able to provide. We'll look at what our growers are able to provide, and then we also will have access to other people who will be able to provide. But we're looking for our people to be able to provide first, and whatever we can't match on what the need is, then we go from there. So two of the main things that we will be needing is for each organization who would desire to do this, we need to get a number of how many people you look to be able to serve. So if there's churches, if there's nonprofit organizations, schools, or whatever it is in our communities that need it, we need to figure out how many we are looking at being able to serve on a weekly, monthly basis, and be able to produce that for those people on a weekly basis. So, for example,
Donnie, I have a question.
okay, go for it.
So, with the number of people served, say, so it's the church,
Right.
would that be based on like our food pantry numbers?
Well, see, this is the issue. All the food pantries have seen their amounts double and quadruple, and they're looking at them being able to do that prior to. So right now, we need to solicit individuals in our churches, in our areas, and say who believes that they're going to need to have this, and because we need to be able to provide. We have to understand that I would say a good 50-60% of America right now is on food stamps and welfare, regardless if they believe it or not. If the government is paying subsidies for your employer to keep you on as an employee and keep you with a paycheck, you basically are on welfare right now.
Right. So I guess my question is asking if, so we take a look at who we serve through the food pantry. And I know Mount Carmel partnered with Cafe to give out boxes.
Right.
Of one earlier this month. So would we base our numbers on that or would we partner with, say, you? Because our farm is not big enough.
Yeah. But the thing is that when you're able to, you want to be able to be compensated for what you put out. So to answer the first question, yes, you go off of what you had, anticipate, solicit, find out what increase you might see, in addition to what you had, and that's where we go from there. And then as these contracts come up quarterly or monthly, or I forgot how often they go, but it's like every month and a half or so, or every 2 months, they're coming up with a new thing. So their thing is that from May to June, you might say, okay, well, we serviced, and I'm just throwing out a number, 100 people last month. Looks like we're going to have about 150 this time. So we solicit for that, we put in for that, we provide for that. By the time July, August comes, that 150 might be up to 300-400. So at that point in time, we solicit for that amount. And September, it might go up, and hopefully, the crisis is over. But the benefit for our people is that we'll be able to continue to do that.
Can I just very briefly, though, real quickly, just describe how this is going to work in accordance with the contract, right? So USDA anticipates that whomever the entity is building the box. Let's say it's all produce. I'm just going to pick produce because it's easy for me right now. Produce. I have 100 boxes of produce that I'm taking to my local food bank every month. You need to set that price for your cost to do that. That includes, right, the cost for delivery, the cost for assemblance, and then you invoice, right? And this is why the Life Project is looking to be the hub for this, right? Because at some point we have to identify, who's the entity doing this management of the invoicing and back to USDA, right? And identifying how many boxes went where. So based on how they're releasing this contract, their description of it, at least during the call, was very clear. Hey, you're going to assemble these boxes. We're only going to go through the end of this year to do this, and you're going to take it to a point that you've identified. And when you take it to that point, you're going to invoice USDA. We're going to pay you, right? So your goal was, when you come up with the prices for these boxes that you've assembled, that you've considered, obviously the cost, cost for these heads of lettuce that you've piled into that one box, the cost to drive it to the food bank or the distribution point. So that's kind of how they're working this contract, just for clarity's sake, right? But as we looked at, hey, this is what they're asking, we think we're in a position as a group, as a team, as or combination of organizations to do this, then we need to really be thinking about what is that, what's the real model, right? And so what we did as a group is really looked at, okay, here's the model, here's the model, right? There's hubs, either, and I'm going to pick you, John, because I know you're in Indiana, you're doing this work, right? And even I think I have to have Dr. Katasha and Camille on the line, right? So we're saying Illinois, right? Illinois has a food bank that has a very clear, like, over the last few weeks, their food bank need has increased to 763%, right? So there's the distribution point. And I'm not saying that food banks are your only ones. This is just an easy example. Northern Illinois Food Bank has a distribution point, and it's a food bank, and they have a tremendous amount of need, right? And say, Dr. Tasha, Camille, you guys have organizations who can assemble boxes and get these boxes to that food bank. So the other point of need is identifying farmers who have product to give you, right? And what that product is, and how you're going to assemble it and then get it to this food bank. So those are the three buckets, right? And I put together these slides as an example of the Life Project team members of our vision of how we can execute this in a micro, macro.
Hey, Tamika,
We
your
lost audio.
sound went out. We can't hear you. You can see your lips moving. So, I don't. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Can anybody else hear Tamika? No. Okay. So I don't know if it's your headset or what.
Hey, hello. Sorry I was late.
Okay. All right. Give us just a second. Tamika's trying to get back on with her presentation.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
You can hear you now.
Okay, I just took out the headset. Excuse me if there's an echo. I'm not sure where we left off. But I do have this slide up to give you all a sense of what the Life Project, the Life teammates thought about with respect to where we're at and how we can be a part of this program and bring in the farmers and things we already work with, and then act as a connective tissue to the distribution hubs in our community. And for example, I'm using the Northern Illinois Food Bank, right? And I'm not saying the food bank is the only location, but a food bank is a good example of the hub. There are three kind of sectors in this. There's where is the product going to? As you can see, this food bank, they've increased with the need of 763% over the last couple of weeks. They have multiple ways that they get their food out, right? So for me, this is like, I'm not going to reinvent this wheel. I'm going to figure out how to plug into that wheel, right? And if I'm the kind of head lead in that area, and I'm using Camille and Dr. Tasha and John and out there in Loud Station as an example, hey, I'm the lead of getting my farmers to get their product to me, right? Whether that be in boxes or produce or whatever they have already, I know that this food bank has a significant need because they're trying to feed the entire northern area of Illinois. So I just need to be able to plug into that and then make sure I'm doing a call out to my farmers who I know have product. And maybe they're not moving it, maybe they are, but maybe they have something they can move and, I can roll up into a box and we can get to this food bank. So this is an example of that micro execution, but being able to still have this managed by, one lead organization who's going to respond to this RFP, right? Because at the end of the day, once you deliver these food boxes, you're going to get a receipt from that organization. Remember, USDA was very clear. We need a receipt that it went somewhere, right? And then it comes back to one big hub, we invoice, you get paid, you pay out recipients for those boxes, right? So this is just an example of our vision of how this could work and how can we respond to this urgent call to help feed communities. Now I'll pause here because this is just me kind of bringing it all together in one picture. And any questions on this? Because I'm repeating this for each one of our areas of where our teammates are at. And we have to. Any thoughts? Any questions? Any comments?
So yeah, Tamika, this is Dr. Tasha. What are the 7 regions?
Great question. I tried to write them down real quick, so you're gonna forgive me if I missed any of them. Okay, so we have the Midwest, the Mountain Region, the West, the Mountain Plains, the Southeast. So I don't have them all here on my little pad. But here's what I'll say.
Northwest.
I'm so sorry. This is the USDA envisions that this is a national program, right? And they don't assume that one organization can service everyone, right? But we believe in our network enough to say, let's at least have that discussion. I don't have all 7 regions, but we can guarantee that they sliced up the U.S. and it's probably at least in those 4 buckets. But I know it's 7 total. I just didn't write them all down. I apologize.
Yeah, I think the ones that you're missing is Northeast and Northwest.
Okay.
I remember we're looking at what I had on mine. I had those 2 on there, and then I saw where you had the others that I don't believe I had on there. But those are the 2 that they had. So and see, the thing is that since we have growers and stuff in different areas, like I said, California, Texas, Arizona, in Georgia, and all the different places that we have people. If we got someone in that region who wants to take the lead in that area, then those are the people that we want to be able to work with to try to fulfill those what's needed in those areas, to be able to coordinate to work with that project in that area.
Dr. Tasha, did you have any other questions? I'm sorry, I think I may have cut you off before you got everything out.
No, I don't have many questions. I'm just looking forward to the collaboration of who's going to come out of this ready to lead a team, because we're talking like a week or 2 to get it together. So we got to really jump on it and create the logistics of who's going to do what. But I do want to throw out that in the end, with transporting, distributing, I definitely can say I can take the Midwest on distribution, and I can help with the delivery, the 3 points of delivery. There are a lot of food banks, of course, but then there's also a lot of nonprofits that are on the ground in underserved neighborhoods, definitely in Chicago, that are doing this work. So to be able to get these boxes, to get a database of those and commit to serving boxes to those communities would definitely be a priority for our organization.
Absolutely. I would think yourself, and I know we have Camilla on the line. Camilla's my sister, but she also has a nonprofit out there in Illinois. You're right. We're going to need a hub, and I'm going to roll through slides here really quickly because it's really just a repeat of the same. Because again, as a team, we envision what's the best way to approach this, and then we'll talk about distribution. But you're right. Each region, right? Each area partner, can stand up. It's not a matter of, this is a collaboration at this point, right? And so regional hubs, we want y'all to stand up, but then we also need our farmers to be working with those hubs to, share and identify what is it that they have that they can provide for these boxes. Because when I've said to John and talked to the team that yes, I'm absolutely willing to write for the proposal. I do government contracts all the time, right? And it's kind of my wheelhouse, right? But one of the things that I'm going to struggle with, unless, if we don't have, regional leads, is, identifying that price point for that box, right? I can't tell you all what that's going to be, but I'm going to need to be able to write to that very quickly. So I've pretty much already drafted the proposal response because, it's what I do. But until my teammates say to me, okay, we're going to be willing to do in the Georgia region, produce boxes, it's $50 a box, right? Then it's not much of a response unless I can do that. So thank you for saying that, Dr. Tasha and Camille. I'm sure all of us will kind of have another powwow here very soon.
Yeah, in Florida, I've been in touch with a lot of the farmers in Florida and Georgia. So I'm gonna try to reach out to them. If we all work as a team anyway, I like working as a team. So if we could all get on board, or do we have to write our own thing?
No. That was the point of this meeting.
Right.
I will tell
good.
you all what I've definitely been doing here in California, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've been in touch with plenty of farmers down here.
Yes.
So yeah, we could be on board.
Absolutely. That, again, the reason for this call is we know that there are farmers with product, right? We know they exist in our network. And we have.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
I apologize, you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Camilla Peoples, the big sister. How y'all doing? I've been kind of busy running around, but I've been definitely listening. Tamika and her and I have been in the background trying to make sure we put this together. She said it's template for it. She did that work and find out how do we get it out quickly, because we don't have time. I mean, literally next week we got to put this out. So we really got to deal with packaging companies and organizations who are dealing with small farmers who are ready to go. I mean, this sounds like this USDA rollouts for farmers who are struggling with their product. They're dumping it, they're having to lose it, and they're saying, okay, look, we're going to use it, we're going to distribute it, just tell us what you're going to provide. So there are organizations, like we're here in Illinois, there's organizations right now who can do the packaging for us, who are already lined up with the small disadvantaged farmers, right? And then as far as the location, that can be anywhere. Like right now, the organizations I deal with, they'll just go and package up a truck and go to a lot somewhere and pass it out to people. So location is not huge, but we do have to have organization. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Absolutely, 100% agree.
Okay.
I wanted to roll into this last slide, and I want to hop into the hub one so we can discuss that. Not because I want to have John talk a bit more about the pricing of these boxes. You said you have farmers that you're already talking to. That is great. That's what we need to know. We need to really start to identify the types of food and the locations. I will say here in California, I'm a little frozen up here. Sorry about that. There are, I'm a very small community here, so we have one major food bank. They've shut down pretty much, all the churches have been, cease and desist, if you will. We don't have a lot of pop-ups. Most of the pop-ups are being managed by our county food bank for the 3 different areas. So it has been very seamless for me to kind of work with identifying the need, timing and tempos of the drop-off. And there are, National Guard partners we're already working with. We actually meet this Saturday to discuss, any other needs for if we have farmers that want to deliver anything else. So the National Guard is actually working directly with our food bank for the kind of security, safety, and sheer bodies. They need the people to help deliver, hand out some of this stuff. So that piece for me, at least here in my local community, has been a little bit easy for me to identify. And then we're obviously we're plugged right into farmers who are ready to go as well. So and I will say that during this call, there was a company on the line that does national distribution currently for the Purdue's and Meats and all these distributors across the nation. They do it across the nation for farmers. And so they kind of checked out the Life Project and just jumped on and said, hey, they really enjoy the work that we're doing. And if we need to leverage any of their larger distribution networks, just let them know. And they've also already identified that they need product. They're also looking to source. So I say that I'm sharing this to say that, yeah, we don't have time to, collaborate with the world, right? But there are people who are, part of this call and in this network who are specific to distribution and packaging as well. They're not only looking to support, but they're looking to source. So if we encounter any of our farmers that, may or may not have these products, they're looking to take them already. I will stop there because there's one more kind of slide in my deck, and it's really about kind of the process. Like we talked about those 3 buckets. I'm not sure of the distribution our teammates are thinking about, but I'm encouraging you, if you are wanting to be a part of our decision to respond to this request. I think it's a yes for the Life team that we are going to respond to this request. There are certain buckets that we're looking for support in. Regional hubs, we're looking for farmers who are ready and willing to identify what they have and are willing to provide, how much and when. And for those regional hubs, obviously, if you all are willing and ready to be a part of kind of this effort and response, how are we identifying where your distribution points are? Those nonprofits, where are we dropping the stuff off to? Those are the things, and the reason why I say that, because those are the things that I have to call out in the contract when we respond is, here's our identified nonprofit. And remember, wherever your distribution point is, right, that entity would, does have to give you receipt for receiving the product. When I say receipt, it's fairly basic, but you guys have seen those donation receipts.
Right.
Again, there's 4 different types of boxes. They can be combo boxes. The USDA representative did really emphasize things that are ready-made, right? Because, at this point, if they're combo boxes or things that people can just take home and cook, that's great too. So chicken, produce, pork, and dairy. And of course, again, the combo box. So I will leave that slide there, and I'm hoping John can kind of talk a little bit again about the boxes and pricing, and then we can open it up for questions and comments.
Okay. Once again, we want to try to get a regional ideal as to what the going rate is. We want to make sure that our farmers get paid, and what make sure that our organizations and stuff that are involved get compensated and stuff like that. So what we need to do is the main things that we need to do is one, and we'll just start with the slide that Tamika has up there, your farmer. Like she says, we need to know what you can provide, how much you can provide, and when you can provide. And we might even have for an area, for example, we might say on a weekly basis, we need to have 500 pounds of tomatoes. That doesn't mean that you as that farmer has to provide 500 pounds of tomatoes, but we need to know if you can provide tomatoes on a weekly basis, what is the average that you think that you can provide? It might be 50 pounds. So that, that means that we got someone else that we need to look at to be able to provide that. So we're not asking one person or one individual to supply it all. We just need to know what it is that you can provide. And doing this in the past with the people that we work with, the other growers we work with in Indianapolis, we find a lot of times that we believe that we can provide 100 pounds of tomatoes. And one farmer might say, okay, out of 100 pounds, I can provide 25 pounds. Another might say I can provide 50. Another say that they can provide 25. And then there's times where the one who's providing the 50 might have 70 pounds of it, but somebody else might only be able to produce 15 or whatever at the time. So that's where we gotta work together to be able to counteract and compensate for that. It is a benefit for the farmer because your stuff is already priced and sold once it comes off the vine. We're not asking for a huge discount, but we want to be able to make sure that we give a price range that will work for everybody. And so as we move on, like I said, for the farmer, we need to know what you got, what you can provide, and when you can provide it. We need to identify who that hub member is going to be, and and that's where we're going to who's going to be the one who is going to basically be able to receive whatever it is, and it may even also be the distribution spot in that location. But we need to find out where are we going to bring this to, and we'll decide from there what will need to be brought to those distribution. So if we got farmers that are within a few minutes drive of whatever that distribution spot is, then we may not need to have to send a truck out there to get them. But if we got some that are a distance away, or if it's more beneficial for someone to be able to come and pick them up and deliver everything all at once, we can set that up also. But we need to know where we're sending it to. Most likely they'll probably need to have a place of that has some type of cold storage. So a lot of times schools, churches, restaurants, depends on what we use and where we and when it and then it comes to the nonprofit or the food bank, and these will be the places that we will do our distribution. We need to have receipts for all this stuff, and basically the food, the Life Member Hub will be the one who will give receipts to the farmers, saying that we received 50 pounds of chicken, we received 100 pounds of tomatoes, we received 500 Joe College collard greens, whatever it is that we received. They need to have a receipt to be able to give to them and to be able to log in. Then we also need to on the other end, depending on if that hub is going to be where the distribution is or not, we also need to have a receipt from the nonprofit or the food bank, whatever organization, that will write off that they received so many boxes of whatever it is that they're getting. So if they're getting 50 boxes, we need to have a receipt so that we can then go back and build the USDA and then be able to pay our farmers and the people who do the distribution and stuff like that in that manner. So we make sure that everybody's getting paid and all the organizations are being supplied.
John, may I make a comment?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. With respect to receipting, which is great. No, I thank you for laying that out. One of the things that for the Life Hub member, I definitely would recommend we start to on the website. We need to start to have a level of, for those who want to participate, to just go ahead and be able to fill the things out like, yes, this is my region. This is, who I believe is going to be my receiver. I want to participate. That way we'll have that information kind of in a form format, and it'll make it a little bit easier for us to identify, okay, we're participating in all 7 regions, or we're participating in the only 3 regions as identified in the request for proposal. Additionally, on the farmer side, we also need that form created. It's just a simple farm receipt form of those who are interested in participating and being a part of the distribution plan for the Life Group to respond to this RFQ. I will say, like I said, the RFQ comes out tomorrow, so that, you know, some of that information we can gather now. If we can throw it in the chat, that's perfect. But I certainly am going to need that as I start to develop and write this response. And now pause. I know someone else was about to ask the question too.
Well, yeah, I was just going to make a comment, Tamika. On the call, he did make it real clear about a few points, and he repeated it like 3 times. Now, hopefully when the RFQ comes out, it'll be defined, I'm sure, but also clarified, because he said he wants fresh fruit and vegetables, milk, cooked pork, and chicken. He said cooked pork and chicken like 3 different times. And no one can really ask any questions at that point, so we have to wait. But he did say that he didn't want any turkey or anything else. There are other RFQs that will come out, but this is really specific because it's an emergency need, so they wanted cooked pork and chicken, fresh vegetables, and those things. So if we have an issue getting the, you know, the cooked items, maybe we should concentrate on vegetables. But again, once the RFQ comes out, it'll be more, you know, clarified if he made a mistake there or whatever.
Thank you. No, that's helpful. I'm glad we had some of our life teammates on the call. You know, I was writing and jotting, and then I built this deck. So thank you for that, Camille. Sorry, John, please continue.
No, but what she said is correct. They did mention that a few times. I'm like her. I had questions about that. You know, do you want us to cook all the meat? You know, do you want us to actually cook the hamburger? You know, what is it? What is your limitations on that, and how well does it need to be cooked and packaged? So with that being said, we'll get more information on that. I see Deb has a question.
Yeah, I was looking at this and it says ready-made boxes. Does that mean cooked food, which ties into the last topic we discussed? Does that mean cooked food of all kinds, or does it mean partly cooked, or cooked vegetables and meat? What does it mean?
So thanks for that question. Again, I think we're going to get better clarification when the RFQ drops. When they were referencing this ready-made statement, they kind of liked the idea of, in a combo box, you have a bunch of different things. Maybe you do have pork. Maybe you have, you know, some dried fruits and vegetables. You have some dairy in there.
Fresh.
When he was talking about this point in particular, that variety box, I think that's what he meant by ready-made, right? That's how I interpreted it. I just wanted to, you know, highlight it here because they did, you know, and me and Gabe talked about this yesterday. They're certainly looking for variety. They envision, you know, these, you know, our banks or these locations are probably overwhelmed. People are just coming and maybe taking this stuff home and eating it as a meal. So as ready-made as you can kind of get it, or as combo as we can get it, that's great. That's how I interpret it. And anyone else who was on the call who, you know, has
yes. Yeah, to make what he clearly said also, just so everyone knows, he said fresh vegetables and fruits. So no frozen, no dried. And he said the meat he did, again, like, you know, John clarified as well, he wanted cooked. So people were like kind of thrown by that just because, okay, you're cooking all this meat, but either which way, that's what they.
Fair enough. Here's what I can say in reference to the other things, like the dairy, perhaps, you know, like the chicken. There was a lot of people on the call. In my interface thus far with my local food bank, I can tell you that they're looking at how do we increase our refrigerated storage capacity on site, right? Because we envision, at least because they're the honchos, you know, each county is handling it different, but it's only our food banks in our county. They're going to be responsible for this distribution. And so they envision that since this call went out, right, all these farmers are calling saying, yeah, you know, we're going to start bringing our stuff, and they're not ready, right? Because we know there are some legalities around the refrigeration points of dairy and chicken, and certainly pork, right? That's why I think a lot of us were kind of thrown off, but hey, whatever works for the USDA. I'm saying that to say, there maybe, you know, as we think about this, if it's not a food bank who has that refrigeration piece, and you maybe are working with several farmers who are looking to give you the chicken and the dairy, you know, think about that cost as you say, hey, I want to be this hub, and I've got 10, you know, chicken farmers and a couple dairy farmers, and we're going to take their milk. you know, we're going to have to kind of work in or think about the cost of that refrigeration if your distribution point is not prepared for that. Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying, you know, everyone's going to live in this space outside of the produce, but I just wanted to make that comment of what our local considerations are around refrigeration and storage for food safety purposes. And I'll leave that there.
So yeah, as Tamika's pointing out and everybody's asking the great questions, yes, it is a lot of logistics and stuff that we got to work out. So that's why it's imperative that we move now. For anybody who's on here who wants to be a part of this, the way for us to make it successful is that we need to identify all the farmers that we know, all the growers that we know. We need to identify all the different places of distribution, the nonprofits and stuff that will be a part of this, so that we can have an idea of what how many boxes and stuff we will have per area. I see Dr. Tasha has a question, and you guys have to excuse me because I can't see everybody on my view right now. So Dr. Tasha, go ahead. If you guys got a question, there's a little button down there to raise your hand.
So the question is, once we get our database of what we have, there are a lot of farmers in Illinois now that are overproducing, that are outside of our network. Are we looking to collaborate anyway in getting those products that we are weak in, that we don't have, like the meats, the cooked meats or dairy, if we're short in any of these areas as we try to come up with what our product is going to look like? And are we looking to collaborate in some way with these farmers that have an overproduction of things that they're pretty much probably selling at a very, very low price? Many were throwing it away, so I would assume if they consume with goods or, you know, products, that they'd be willing to sell it at a low price. Have we thought about that part?
I have, and you know, there's quite a bit that you have to take into consideration with that. One is, you know, if you dealing with a farmer or that grows pork, chicken, beef, is all right. If they have it, what do I do with it when I get it? Because when they give it to you, they're not giving it to you already cut up. So you have to be able to get it butchered. You have to be able to get it packaged from there. So, you know, there's a lot of logistics that goes with that. You have to also, you know, if he has it, he's going to most likely say, and it's not that hard to do because they do it anyway. But, you know, you'll need to work with a local butcher who can say that, all right, I can be able to process this many hogs in a day, this many chicken, this many cattle, and be able to package it and give it to you so that you can have
that would definitely create a lot of overhead on
I was going to say, like, and I don't know this for sure, right? I can only speak from my experience with cotton, and a whole different commodity, right? Typically, let's say like a beef farmer, you know, they may be raising, if they're raising for dairy, that they typically take it to, you know, one main buyer for cotton. This is a cotton co-op, right? They go and they just sell it and they're done. So I'm wondering if, I'm not sure if this is the case. I'm not sure I'm going to go down the road trying to get chicken and dairy. That's just me, but I'm sure there are farmers out here who are looking to do that. Well, perhaps the real relationship of this hub member at that point is really with the processors and distributors of that, right? I don't know this, and there are more farmers with experience on this line than I am, but I would like to think that there's some processor in the point of that chicken and dairy that's looking, who's still probably doing this work for these guys, right? Saying bring it in, maybe don't bring it in, but right. They have that capacity, they do this anyway. So maybe that real relationship with this hub member is with perhaps that type of processor versus left of bang, which I would say is the farmer, who we know they got to get it to here and get it packed and do all that stuff anyway. So that's just a thought, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I just would not, I don't know that we want to get into that piece of it.
Yeah. So let me ask, because I know that Joe Tutt, aka Joe Collard, deals with cattle and stuff like that. So Joe, how reasonable would that be for us to be able to jump into something like that?
Processing time, it's a logistics nightmare because first of all, you have to get in line for the processor. There's going to be a USDA approved processor, and then you don't know how many people are ahead of you. So for what USDA is trying to do now to get food donated to food banks, and on top of that, it's all uncooked.
Right.
Yeah. So I would assume USDA, they know this, right? They buy this stuff all the time. They're in the business of buying commodities. Let's just keep it 100. So I haven't seen the RFP. There was a lot of pushback within the call, right? Just in the comments alone of, are you kidding me? Meats? You know, who are you? Who's the distributor at that point?
Right.
I would assume, this is just me, I would assume you're talking about somebody working with the distributor of the, working with the processor for that meat. I can't imagine, right? They're asking somebody who typically hands out boxes of produce to a food bank to come back here and be this person to work with the farmer and no.
Right.
I would expect they have it go through the same value chain. Then those bigger processors are figuring out how they then distribute to the micro hubs. That's just me. But I'll use
and also with beef, it's not the old days of shipping the side of beef to the local grocery store and your butcher in the back will cut it to specifications, what they're going to sell. Now they sell what they call box beef. That box of beef has a particular cut in it. Your ribeye steaks, you're going to get a section of them. Your T-bones, your loins, your chucks, your roast, your ground beef, your briskets, your neck bones. They sell beef now in segments because they make more money, one, and two, it's quicker to sell.
Okay. All right.
I think the other question on that is if we did have to go that route or decided to go that route, the cost and how we would, if we're getting compensated on the back end, how would we then do that on the front end with a distributor of a commodity that we don't have in our network? So that would be another thing to kind of think about.
Absolutely. And I think that was what I found to be valuable about my call post that meeting, right? Is to kind of talk to somebody who this is all they do is they distribute all of that, right? And then they are used to understanding what does that invoicing really look like. Typically with U.S. government, right, is net 15. Rarely are we in these net 30 terms. That they can't move like that now in these days, regardless. But you're right. Cost is going to be an issue. I would just implore us to start with, let's just keep it real basic right now.
What we have, yeah.
What we have, like who are the farmers who want to participate? Who are the team members? We already have inherent team members, right? So we have team members across 7 states, right, that we know who exist and want to, already a part of the LIFE program. But do we have other team members in other states, right, that do want to help, right, or act as this hub, right? If we keep it simple with who are the farmers who want to be a part of this, and so because it's a plug and play thing for me at this point, like I'm gonna have to write, like my life depends on it to respond correctly to this RFP. So we need to know who are the farmers, what are the regions, and then from there you can back out. That's just going to be simple math at that point, right? Farmers said they can give me 100 heads of lettuce. Great, here's how we're going to do produce boxes. We can do about 100 boxes a week. It's $50 a box. All right, great. That's Georgia. Then it becomes easy. If we identify the farmers and we identify the Life Member Hub teammates who want to stand up in their area and act as this kind of central focal point to get these things to the nonprofit or the food bank of choice.
So, Ronette, you got a question? I see your hand up.
My hand was close.
It may have been answered, I believe, but did we have a website you said to put in our information?
Yeah, that's my other hack. That's my other hack. So I'm probably not gonna sleep tonight, but I'm going to create a form. I do want to, definitely make sure with John that we have the right questions for the farmer form.
Yeah.
The life member hub that's easy. Where are you at, and please identify who your nonprofit of choice would be. So yeah, I'm gonna develop the forms with this other person that exists called Tamika as well.
Yeah, and
Hello?
might be able to help you out on that. She's very good at the putting together websites and stuff like that. Camilla, did you have something that you had to say? I saw your hand up also.
I appreciate that, John. Sorry, I had a really bad reception earlier, but I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that you guys hit points, timelines. I mean, this comes out on the 24th. I believe it's due on the 28th, and then they do the award on the 8th of May, and then we have to have the first boxes out by the 15th. So they really want organizations that are already, like Tamika said, plugged in. However, we can still make it happen. Plus, they also want to make sure that it has to be variety boxes. So you can't just get one box. If you have lettuce, it has to be lettuce within the box. Tomato has to be a variety of boxes, whatever we might want to do. Even if we can't do chicken and pork, I want to make that real clear for everyone so they're not confused. We'll just give a bunch of tomatoes and ship it, make this box and ship it. No, they want variety boxes that you can maybe include tomatoes. We have to have a hub or an organization willing to box those and get them out so we can distribute them.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I think, right, because of the type of questions that they were getting, I won't say the type of pushback, but certainly the type of questions that this RFQ has probably even refined a bit more from the first.
I hope so.
Right? But either way, the reason why John one sent it out, asked us to be a part of it, and then we kind of brainstormed on approaches is because we do believe we have the capacity, the capability to respond. And we also believe this is certainly an opportunity to create this network of Black farmers and organizations collaborating in a way that once this is over, because we know this is ending, right? This is going to end at some point. This contract certainly is going to end at the end of this year. Maybe we've created a model that lives on. And I'll stop there.
Yeah, and we want to be able to also, like I said, be able to collect that data. The things that we need to know is one, who you are, contact info. We need to know, and I'll get with Tamika on this, but I just want people to kind of have this understanding. Who you are, what your contact information is, which is, what it is, phone number, email address. What do you do? Are you a farmer? Are you looking to help to be the part of the hub? Are you looking to be able to receive boxes? Whatever it is that you're doing, we need to know what area you're in. What is your state and city? So we'll be able to match you up with the region that you're in and with farmers in that region. There was another thing that I had, but it's slipped my mind right now. But if you can get those things there as soon as possible, and we need to, like I said, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm a farmer in Texas, and I can provide 2,000 watermelon, and that's good. But the thing is, we also need to know who in Texas can you give these watermelons to. So we need to have people who in each area who is willing to go out there and look. For everybody who's on here, that should be part of our job is to be able to go out there and find out what it is in our area, who is in our area, as far as growers, as far as producers, as far as hubs, and as far as nonprofit organizations and stuff that will be able to do it. So we all got to work on this because it's imperative that we get this information and then get it back to our group. So right now, Tamika, do we have anything on the website to be able to collect that?
No, but I'm gonna stop sharing, so forgive me, y'all. I saw the screen stop doing that. Let me do some exits. As I mentioned, I'm kind of the webmaster as well, so I will be right now. There, you can go onto the website, thelifeproject.com, excuse me, and there is a contact form on there. However, I'm revising that to kind of say Life Member Hub or a farmer, and I'm going to create the forms and I'll update that. I just need a couple hours, and then we should be able to do some level of receipt. But I would implore everyone who is on this call and envisions that they want to support, whether they want to provide the produce, or hey, they realize they could be kind of a hub point of where they're at. They have all these two things identified and not a nonprofit, and they definitely already working with farmers. Please put your information in the comments, but you can always still go to the site here. I need a couple hours in order to get those forms up.
What was the site again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, type that into the chat if you would, Tamika.
Of course. Yes. Give me one moment here.
So, Tamika, I had a question. So can we use the current contact us form to submit that info?
Yes, sir, you can, and you probably hopped on the site. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I have a question.
I know that there's some who've been on my website due to the radio show that I was on, Karen Hunter, this past week. So if your information is in that, we'll also forward that over to the Life Project that we're doing. So so we don't have to worry about trying to duplicate 2 or 3 times. But Tamika has it in the chat right now, and that's the dash Life Project. I'm glad she put that because I always put an underscore. And .com. And so on there, we should be able to get that information and get people to work. So for those of us who are growers, know somebody who's growing, now's the time to really try to get that in and get that information in. But we got to get it in quickly. I would suggest that we need to make as many contacts as we can between now and Monday, because we need to be able to have that information to turn in and turn it into so that we can be able to identify the numbers that we got. So as well as knowing who we're going to give our stuff to, what hubs and stuff, we need to have an idea of the number of people or the number of families and what they consider a family size in order to be able to have an idea of what we need to provide and what we can provide for this contract. So
I would tell you, your food banks, they really are very well versed on these numbers, right? If it is a food bank, I'm not saying that that's the case, but they should have that data, right? Most of your operational directors will have it.
Yeah, but see, the thing now is that, like they said, their stuff has increased by 700%. So, their numbers are way skewed now. But if they have an idea as to, when we say a family, that our family unit is a unit of 4, and we just use that as a universal unit, and we produce from there. So when we go in, we want to bill, and we bill per unit, we're basing that off of a unit of 4. So that's the main thing that we need to do. So we just need to have clarification on that. But I'll say right now, just until we come up with something else, we'll just utilize that as our unit base, a family of 4, and go from there. Darrell, you got a question?
All right, 2 questions all packed in one, and I'll be out. First thing is, does everyone, y'all know they mentioned sam.gov. Is everyone that's on this call required to be registered in sam.gov is the first one. The second one is, what language should be used when approaching the average food bank? Because here in Virginia Beach, I'm noticing that one of the main food banks, they're actually meeting at in a YMCA parking lot, and cars are like lined up all the way down the street, and they're just literally like passing out boxes. People can actually walk up. And so last thing, again, what language should be used when approaching these food banks to get family size number? And two, a lot of people are on the call, and I know they mentioned sam.gov. Does everyone need to be registered, or are they going to go through the parent company? Thank you.
So let me, if I can, take the first one, John, and then I'll defer to you.
Do your thing, Tamika.
Yes, sir. With respect to sam.gov, this is the reason we are using the current ecosystem, because we don't really have time to register every company with sam.gov. We envision using the current life project structure, right, to do that. Right now, People's Foundation, all of my companies are registered in SAM, right? So whether I want to use my consultant firm or my nonprofit, in this instance, I'll use my nonprofit because we're already connected that way within my nonprofit. So typically, yes, your company would have to be registered in sam.gov in order to respond to what they're calling a request for proposal, or really is a back call that, hey, we're going to throw this out there. It's going to be a contract respond, right? So we're registered as an entity, as a group. We're connected and already doing this work. We did this call because we envisioned that we're going to use this entity as the one to respond to this RFQ. So I'll leave that there. I will tell you for the language that I use, and I'll defer to John or anyone else on here, I literally walked into and called the food bank. Obviously, as we know, during this time, they're in need of product. So they were also, most of your national food banks were also a part of this phone call, just FYI. They actually got the announcement a week prior. So in talking to my local food bank, I talked about, hey, I want to distribute, i.e. donate product to your food bank. When are your receiving times? How many families do you serve? What is your normal family unit size? Like it was an easy conversation because these are ones that they're used to having, but those are the three things that I hit on. So I hope that helps. And I'm not saying that that's the only question you want to have, but those are the starting languages of questions. John, if you have any thoughts.
I think you did an excellent job. The reason why we're trying to do this in this manner is, one, like I said, they just pushed it out on Tuesday, this information. Two, we won't even get the request thing until tomorrow. Three, it's got to be turned in by next week. Was it the first, I think, of May that it has to be in? I'm not exactly sure, but it's a short turnaround time that it has to be put in to get your SAMs and everything else. That's like a 2-3 weeks process to get all that stuff. So if you don't already have it, then you're turned out. So our thing is that because, one, we already have contracts and through grants and stuff with the USDA, that they are already putting us into play to be able to work with our farmers and stuff. For us, it's a win-win situation that helps to meet our contractual thing with our grant. And it also helps to get our people, our farmers and stuff into play. And so it helps you to get time to be able to put in your SAMs and stuff like that. So in the future, when things come up, you'll already be ready. But this provides an opportunity so that you won't lose out or miss out at this point in time. Joe?
Got to take off.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on there. And thank you, sir, for that package. I'm waiting to receive.
All right, then. Let me know when you get it.
All right. I definitely will.
Give Quinn my number.
Okay. I definitely will.
All right, thank
you got a question?
Yeah, one question.
Okay. Well,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is my last question.
All right.
So who do they pay? They pay directly to the farmer, or do they pay directly to you guys and you pay us?
They will pay us, and then we will pay out to the farmer. That's the reason why we're getting receipts and everything else from the farmers and stuff. We will have some type of what they call it, MOI, operation contract thing that we will have with them that will explain for, you know, every unit of tomatoes that you bring in, you'll get it at this cost, you know, for per pound, by weight, by number, whatever it is. We'll already have that in there. When they get their receipt that they gave us X amount of this, we already know this is what they get. And so, like we said, we're hoping that it's about net 15. So as soon as we get it, we'll be sending that money right back out to the farmers and stuff, because we need to make sure our farmers get paid, and because we need to continue to get this product and stuff from them.
I add also, I anticipate when this RFQ comes out, there'll be really a lot of information in there regarding what they pay per unit or per pound on the commodity. And here's what I mean by that. The USDA Agricultural Marketing Services Division, they buy commodities, and they set commodity prices based on world and national indexes, right? So I fully anticipate that in this RFQ that they're going to have an addendum or an attachment, typical of what I generally see, that has commodity prices for the commodities they intend to make payment on, right? And I say that because when you go into their site now, they kind of have all of that. You can see the peanut, you can see the produce, you can see the chicken, you can see their delivery schedule, their pickup schedule. USDA has been buying commodities for years, right? So they're going to kind of set what those prices are, right? It is then incumbent upon the entity, as you think about your distribution model, right? What your assembly costs are, what your delivery costs are, you roll all that up, right? You make that a per unit thing, you calculate that per box, and you're gonna tell them, this is my cost per box, right? So that's why it's really imperative for us as team members from producers, right? From our producer unit, once we identify, okay, we have 100 tomato growers, and we're gonna be able to, then price that out based on that. So I'm just letting you know what I anticipate based on what I seem to understand about USDA EMS. And I've done some level of research on them for the last 24 to 48 hours. So they do have commodities, spreadsheets, and prices already. So I anticipate that will be a part of the RFQ. So we kind of at least know the price ranges once we get a good inventory of what we will have from our farmers. The rest is just straight math, right?
Okay, so they have a price, and then you're asking us to give a price. Suppose it's a different price,
right?
So
no.
why don't we stick to one price all over, and then we could be at a better position?
Right. So I guess let me explain that better in an example, right? So let's say they say their price per unit of lettuce is $1 per unit of lettuce, right? And we're identifying, we're putting for a family of 4, 3 heads of lettuce in a box. And so that's where we're going to be able to identify what the cost for that box is. And then on top of that, you have to identify what it's going to take you to assemble that. Hey, I have a team of 4. We're assembling 100 boxes a day. And maybe I'm paying them $4 an hour. I don't know. So on top of that price per box, you have to identify, hey, what it took you to assemble that box. Like they said, they're going to pay for the commodity, they're going to pay for assembly, delivery, and distribution. So those are the other 3 costs that you then round up into your cost per box. But the base is going to be how many units of what are you putting in that box, right? And I'm not saying that they are, right? I'm just guesstimating based on what they do, what they've done for years, and what commodity prices are, how they come up with commodity prices, right?
Okay.
That's how I'm kind of estimating what they're going to do in the RFQ when it is released. So we'll at least have some level of baseline, right?
Right.
Rest is assembly distribution. Add that as cost per box.
Okay, yeah, 'cause it'll be easier if we stick to one thing instead of everybody giving you a price and it's all a mess. But I'm sure you writing it up, you know how to do it. You're pretty professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Camilla.
Great.
The other Camilla.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Yes, thank you, John. Yeah, you guys hit on a lot of things I raised my hand for, but I did want to clarify because of the time restraints. There are organizations we can go to already dealing with this type of process because the food banks receive the goods. They say, hey, we've packaged it, we want to receive it. That's not a problem. The issue would be finding who's already packaging these goods or were packaging them prior, now not able to do so. So when I did a search here in Illinois, there's a lot of organizations who, deal with small farmers across Illinois, and they're able to go there as a resource and say, hey, look, I have tomatoes, I have onions, I have celery, right? And you can go to that organization and say, hey, look, this is what we're looking to do according to this RFQ. Who have ready to go goods, or who's already, we're doing this in the past. And say, oh, shoot, we have plenty of farmers here. Here's the list, or we'll send out an email because we are at a time restraint. You know what I mean? So that will save you'd have to go to John's house or so-and-so's house, and then, we have to figure out who's going to do this, that, and the other. They're probably already doing it somewhere else. They're already packaging somewhere else. And like, okay, we're already doing it here with this organization. Go there and make sure it's a variety box versus just one type of box and get it out.
That's a fair thought. Thank you. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. Family, I have to depart. I got like 4 more things to try to knock out. Is there any more questions for me while I'm still here? Happy to answer. I'm sure my teammates can do the same, but while you still have me.
All right. No questions from anybody? We all know what our objective is. One, to, and I'll say this again, for anybody who has not put your email information into the chat. If I've sent you a email, we need to get it into the chat for Quinn, because Quinn is our guy for the group who sends stuff out. I just happen to always remember at the last minute and then try to remember who's in my group and stuff and send stuff out. But we need to have that in there because there's going to be a lot of information that'll be passed out back and forth, and we want to make sure that everybody's got their information in there so that we can get it out to everybody at the same time. So if you would, please do that. If you guys got any questions, feel free to hit us up and we can go from there. You guys got my number. And for those who didn't know, I was on the Karen Hunter show this past week, Tuesday. My email and phone numbers and stuff like that has been blown up. They crashed our little website and everything else. I'm scheduled to go back next Thursday, I think.
Look at John, go boy.
Don't tell nobody. But
hey, already blasted on Facebook. Sorry.
yeah. I told Tamika. I said I'm putting the Life Project information on this next one because they tore my website down the last time. So I have some backup on this. I won't have to be the only one to answer emails. So but yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do. Need to get with Quinn, make sure that he has access to the website and be able to help out on answering questions and stuff. So we're at that point in time now where we're really moving to the point where we're going to need some help. And so,
hey John, I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
For those of us that are new, will you have like a database where we all can go and so we can connect with people in our region, so we all can kind of coordinate our roles?
That's what we're in the process of putting together now.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I've been working with a young man who's putting together an app for that, so that people will be able to not only just look, say that, here I am at this spot here, and I need something, but they'll be able to just basically put in a zip code or something like that and be able to find us. So yes, that's that. We will have that on the website, and like I said, in the process of putting together an app for that also.
All right, thanks.
So appreciate you coming. Anybody else that's new here? I'm trying to see. Sharana's been on there before, but it's always good to see her. For Quinn, Sharana is the one who got their award when we were at the thing.
in Georgia.
Yeah, in Georgia.
At the at the NRCS.
Yeah. So she's on there. Deb, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, if anyone needs extra web space or more capacity, I'm a web host.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're in definite need of that. Like I said, we lost a lot of our emails and stuff. Not so much lost them, but didn't have access to them. So
oh no.
Yeah, so we're trying to regain and get all that stuff back. So that's what we're doing now. So anybody else got anything? Cheryl, thank you for being on. Joyce, is that I see the 12673. Who's that up there? Is that Ron? I see you looking around. Yeah, you got a grin on your face. We're trying to get you unmuted. You still muted. Maybe I got you muted. There you go.
There we go.
All right. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Just sitting here grinding right now as we speak.
All right. So, like I said, looking forward to having everybody on. Sabrina, we got to get you putting some stuff in the dirt right now because we need all the stuff that you can provide for us. All right.
Okay, I'm driving. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. We're just letting you know we need from everybody. So we like I said, we're trying to get stuff in there. I see somebody by the name of LaDouglas. Hopefully I said that right.
Quinn, I'm gonna hit you up later too.
Yes,
hey,
ma'am.
What's going on, y'all?
All right. How's it going? Give us a little insight about yourself. Did he run on me? I guess oh well. Anyhow.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We've got lots and things, but I haven't had an opportunity to really plant, stuff in quantity.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything else I could do? Like, I do technology or,
Yeah, we'll be needing quite a bit of assistance coming up on quite a few things.
Okay.
This seems like it's going to really jump pretty big. Like I said, part of what we're trying to do is to get our people plugged in and everything else. Be sure that when you fill out the form as to who you are and what you can do, put that information down there for us.
And where will I do that?
That was at the _lifeproject.com.
Okay. Will do.
Put that on there and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right. LaDouglas, we got you back. I thought I scared you off there for a second.
No, not at all.
All right. Give us
I'm
some
here with my
insight on
man.
who you are and what you got going on.
Well, I just recently started working for myself. I'm from Mississippi originally.
Okay.
So come from a family of like gardeners, farmers. My grandma, we got like 150 acres out there in Mississippi. So Troy brought it to me a few weeks ago when y'all first spoke. I was on then.
Okay.
And I just told him like, whatever I can do, because I used to be a part of a nonprofit in Jackson called Jackson Inner City Gardeners. So, and I still got connections out there as well. So,
well, hey, let's do that. You know, that's where my peeps is from down there in Jackson. There in Brandon. Yeah, we got 130 acres out there in Brandon. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm actually looking at some land in Holmes County. Yeah, but Troy had shot me some stuff over there, so we were trying to looking to buy some more acres out there as well, just using like our own money too. So.
Okay. So what do you produce?
I just recently, I grew up gardening, so I just bought my watermelon seeds last week. About to get into doing the collard greens. I got my grandma kind of walking me through it, making sure I do it right. And
you should put my boy Joe Tudd on there. Look up a man called Joe Collards.
Joe Collards?
Yeah, that was the brother that was just on there. And that guy grows collard greens that he says it takes about 3 of them to fill a 30-gallon bag. That's how big they are.
Golly.
Yeah, so
I need to holler at him then.
Yeah, he go by the name Joe Collard. He said he can show you. He's supposed to be sending me some. I'm gonna work my see what I can do with my magic with him this year.
Yeah, that'll work. I'm actually going back to Mississippi this weekend. I'm gonna be there for about 4 or 5 days. So while I'm down, I'm actually talking to some people then, trying to let them know what we got going.
Okay.
And to see how much support I can get. But as far as growing stuff, I grow anything. So like I said, watermelon, squash, okra, dill. I do it all. So.
All right. Well, what we're gonna need is like I said, for all of our growers to get stuff in the ground. I know that some of this stuff we're not gonna be able to be able to do off the bat in May. Probably won't be until late June, so before we start having crops and stuff come in. Unless you're down there in the southern states, some of them already got stuff that's coming up and everything. But but the thing is get it in, because we're going to need them throughout the year. And as a farmer who deals with farmers markets and stuff, it's always good to be able to go somewhere and be able to just drop and go, basically.
No, that's definitely.
I come up with a truckload of produce. I love coming to their church and stuff, because I can sell a truckload in about 45 minutes. And, yeah.
Well, you doing numbers.
Yeah. So that's good. That's my favorite place to go. But the best places for me to be able to go is someplace where I can just go and just unload, get my feet and dash. And that's basically what this is going to do for us. And this is, if you're able to produce, you're able to get everything taken care of. So just want to say thank you. Douglas, be sure to make sure we got your information to be able to get in contact with you and everybody else. Unless anybody else got anything else to say, we're gonna go ahead and make our dash.
Okay.
All right. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys. We will be sending out a copy of this video probably later on tonight. So I'm gonna give it to send a copy to Quinn. So Quinn will be sending out a copy to everybody that's in this, and then to our other groups. Dr. Tasha, you had something?
Hey, you need somebody to transport, to deliver?
Yeah.
I know somebody.
Okay. Well, be sure to give us that information. Have them log in and put it on our thing, and we'll help to coordinate and put that stuff together.
Okay, maybe they can be on the next meeting, or you want me to just shoot you the information?
Both.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Dr. Tasha, did you have something? I saw you jump in for a second. Nope. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you, everybody. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Later.
All right.
Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace.